God has not abandoned you. What is coming will be greater than what you lost. There are moments in life when silence feels louder than any answer, when the absence of relief begins to whisper lies into the corners of the mind. In those hours, it is easy to assume that abandonment has occurred, that heaven has grown indifferent, or that you have somehow been mislaid in the grand ordering of things. Yet such thoughts, though persuasive, are not true. They are born not of reality, but of weariness. For exhaustion has a curious habit of convincing the soul that delay is the same as desertion, and that loss is proof of neglect. But abandonment is not measured by pain, nor is absence measured by waiting. The gardener does not abandon the seed simply because it remains unseen beneath the soil, nor does the author forget a chapter simply because it has not yet been read aloud. What you have lost feels heavy because it mattered. Grief does not arise from nothing. It grows in the soil of love, hope, effort, and faith once invested. If nothing had been given, nothing would ache. And so the very pain you carry now is evidence that your life has been taken seriously, that your story is not a trivial one tossed aside at the first difficulty. The heart does not break over illusions alone. It breaks over what was real, what was hoped for, what was prayed over in the quiet hours. But the breaking of the heart is not the breaking of the promise. Often it is the reshaping of the vessel so that it can hold something larger than it could before. It is tempting to believe that what is gone has taken the future with it, that the door which closed has sealed the entire house. Yet history, both sacred and personal, tells a different tale. Doors close not to imprison but to redirect, and what feels like an ending is often a narrowing of the path so that the traveler cannot miss the destination. Loss clears the hands, it makes room, it teaches the soul the weight of what it carried and, more importantly, what it can carry next. You were not stripped so that you would remain empty, but so that you would not cling to what could not follow you into the next season. Consider how easily we mistake familiarity for faithfulness. We assume that because something has been with us for a long time, it must be meant to stay forever. But permanence belongs not to circumstances, nor to roles, nor even to seasons of joy or sorrow. Permanence belongs to purpose, and purpose has a way of outliving every temporary arrangement. When something leaves your life, it is not always because it was bad, but because it was finished. Completion can feel like loss when we expected continuity, but completion is not failure. It is fulfillment wearing a disguise that grief does not immediately recognize. You may ask why the taking was so painful if the giving was always meant to be temporary. The answer is not cruelty, but significance. Temporary things are often entrusted to us precisely because they will shape us deeply in a short time. A lesson does not need a lifetime to be eternal in its effect, and so what was lost may have already accomplished more in you than you realize. It may have strengthened your discernment, softened your compassion, sharpened your hunger for what is true and lasting. What departs from your life often leaves behind a gift that remains. There is a peculiar mercy in the fact that you cannot yet see what is coming. If you could, the waiting would lose its power to refine you. Anticipation without clarity teaches trust in a way that certainty never can. To walk forward without a map requires a different kind of courage, one that leans not on visible outcomes, but on invisible guidance. And it is here, in the fog between what was and what will be, that the soul learns whether it believes only in blessings or also in the one who blesses. Do not mistake the quiet for absence. Some of the most deliberate work is done in silence. The roots grow in darkness, the foundations are laid underground, and the strongest structures are those whose beginnings were hidden. Noise gives the illusion of progress, but silence often accompanies transformation. What you cannot see being built does not mean nothing is being built. It may mean that what is being prepared is too weighty, too intricate, too enduring to be rushed or displayed prematurely. You have not been forgotten simply because you feel unseen. Feeling unseen is often the consequence of being prepared for a wider view. When the focus shifts inward, when familiar affirmations are removed, the soul is trained to listen for a deeper voice than applause or reassurance. This is not neglect, it is invitation. an invitation to mature faith, to trust that does not depend on constant proof, to hope that does not demand immediate fulfillment. Such faith is not naive, it is resilient. It has been tested by delay and refined by loss. What is coming will be greater not because it will erase what you lost, but because it will redeem it. Redemption does not pretend the wound never existed. It gives the wound a meaning that pain alone could not supply. The future does not mock the past by replacing it, it honors it by completing what it began. And so the tears you shed now are not wasted. They are watering the ground of a harvest you see, and not yet imagine. Sorrow, when surrendered, becomes soil. There is a difference between restoration and repetition. Restoration does not mean returning you to the same place with the same arrangements and the same expectations. That would be mere repetition, and repetition often traps us in cycles we were meant to outgrow. Restoration brings you forward, not backward. It returns what was essential while transforming what was limited. It gives back the joy without the fragility, the love without the illusion, the purpose without the fear that once accompanied it. You may still carry the question of why the loss had to be so severe. Could the lesson not have been gentler, the transition less abrupt? Perhaps. But gentleness does not always produce depth. Some truths must be learned with the whole being, not merely understood by the mind. And while severity feels harsh in the moment, it often protects us from lesser pains later on. A clean cut, though shocking, heals more fully than a slow erosion that weakens without clarity. It is also worth remembering that abandonment is a human concept, born of human inconsistency. We abandon because we grow tired, because our resources run thin, because our attention wanders. But the one who guides your life does not suffer from distraction or depletion. Faithfulness is not an effort for him, it is his nature. And so even when you step into seasons that feel empty, you are not stepping outside of care. You are stepping into a different expression of it. Loss has a way of narrowing vision, of making the past loom larger than the future. Yet the future has not diminished simply because it has not yet arrived. Its absence from your sight does not reduce its substance. In fact, what is delayed often grows more solid, not less. Waiting is not a void. It is a chamber where strength is forged. Patience is not passive endurance. It is active trust exercised over time. You may find yourself tempted to measure what is coming by what was lost, to imagine the future only as a replacement of equal size and shape. But what is coming will not fit neatly into the old categories. It will surprise you not only in magnitude but in kind. You may discover that you needed to lose what you understood so that you could receive what you could not have previously recognized. Growth often requires the dismantling of old definitions before new realities can be welcomed. Do not be afraid that your best days are behind you, that fear belongs to a story too small for the author who writes it. The best chapters are not always those with the least conflict, but those in which meaning emerges from struggle. What lies ahead carries with it the wisdom you did not have before, the humility born of loss, the courage shaped by endurance. These are not small additions. They are the very qualities that allow joy to deepen and purpose to endure. Even now, as you wrestle with unanswered questions, something within you is being steadied. You are learning how to stand without leaning on what once supported you. This is not because you will never need support again, but because you are being taught discernment about where true support comes from. When secondary supports fall away, the primary one becomes unmistakable, and once recognized, it cannot be easily forgotten. What you lost may still echo in quiet moments, and that is natural. Memory does not vanish on command, but memory does not have the final word. It can inform without imprisoning, remind without ruling. In time, what once caused sharp pain will become a reference point, a marker of how far you have come and how carefully you were led, even when the path felt cruel or confusing. There is more unfolding than you can currently perceive. Threads are being woven beyond your line of sight, connections forming that would not have been possible had everything remained as it was. If you could see the full pattern now, the waiting would make sense, but sense often comes after obedience, not before it. And so you are asked, not to understand fully, but to continue faithfully, step by step, trusting that the ground beneath you is firmer than it feels. You are not standing at the edge of emptiness, but at the threshold of increase. Increase does not always announce itself with excitement. Sometimes it arrives disguised as endurance, as persistence, as the quiet decision to keep believing despite disappointment. Yet these are the very postures that make room for greater things. What is coming will require the strength you are developing now, the patience you are learning, the faith you are refining. So do not rush the process by which you are being prepared. Do not despise the days that feel ordinary or heavy or slow. They are doing more than you realize. They are teaching you to live without constant reassurance, to hope without immediate reward, to trust without visible proof. Such lessons are not signs of abandonment. They are signs of investment. And as you continue forward, carrying both the memory of what was lost and the promise of what is to come, know that the story is still unfolding, that the pause you feel is not an ending but a breath taken before the next movement, and that even now, in ways unseen and often unfelt, the groundwork is being laid for something that will not merely compensate for what you lost, but will expand you beyond the limits you once thought defined you, shaping a future that will, in time, reveal why this chapter could not have been written any other way, and why the silence you feared was never absence at all, but preparation for a depth of restoration that is still moving toward you, quietly, deliberately, and with a purpose that continues to unfold as you walk onward, learning to trust not only in what you will receive, but in who you are becoming along the way, as the days continue, and the work continues, and the promise remains steadily, patiently alive within the unfolding of your life. And that promise continues to breathe beneath the surface of your days. You may begin to notice subtle shifts that once would have gone unnoticed. The way you respond to disappointment changes. The way you listen becomes deeper. The way you pray grows quieter, yet more honest. These are not small developments. They are signs that something essential is being recalibrated within you. When outer circumstances are stripped back, inner realities are brought into sharper focus. You begin to see what truly governs your peace, and what merely borrowed its authority from convenience or success. There is a strange freedom that emerges when you realize that survival itself is a testimony. You are still here, still hoping, still reaching forward, even when the ground has felt unsteady. That persistence is not accidental. It is sustained. And sustained things are rarely abandoned things. What continues to live within you, despite discouragement, despite unanswered questions, is evidence of a care that has not withdrawn, but has instead taken a form strong enough to endure hardship without spectacle. Often what hurts the most is not the loss itself, but the meaning we assign to it. We tell ourselves that loss is proof of disfavor, that delay is denial, that struggle is a sign of misdirection. Yet meaning is not dictated by emotion, nor is truth decided by intensity. The weight of sorrow can distort perception, magnifying fear while shrinking hope. But truth remains unmoved by how convincing despair may feel in the moment. Truth is patient. It waits for the heart to calm enough to recognize it again. You may recall how certain expectations once seemed essential, how specific outcomes appeared necessary for your life to make sense. With time, you begin to see how narrow those expectations were, how limited the picture you were working with truly was. This realization does not mock your former hopes. It dignifies them by showing that they were stepping stones, not destinations. You hoped as well as you knew how at the time. Now you are being taught to hope more deeply. Loss has a way of revealing the difference between control and trust. Control demands predictability, trust survives without it. When control is stripped away, trust is no longer theoretical. It becomes a daily practice, sometimes an hourly one. And while this can feel exhausting, it is also clarifying. You begin to understand that faith is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. Such movement reshapes the soul in ways comfort never could. You may notice that you are becoming more compassionate, not because you have tried to be, but because suffering has expanded your capacity to recognize it in others. Pain, when met honestly, softens the heart rather than hardening it. It strips away impatience, exposes shallow judgments, and replaces them with understanding. This too is part of what is being formed in you. What is coming will require not only strength, but gentling. Not only confidence, but wisdom shaped by empathy. There will be moments when you are tempted to look back with regret, to wonder whether different choices might have prevented the loss you endured. Such thoughts are natural, but they are rarely helpful. Regret assumes a clarity you did not possess at the time. You acted with the knowledge, courage, and faith available to you then. The path forward is not found in revisiting decisions endlessly, but in allowing what you have learned to inform who you are becoming now. As time moves on, you may begin to sense that what once felt unbearable is no longer as sharp. This does not mean the loss mattered less, it means you have grown around it. The heart has an astonishing ability to expand, to make room for sorrow without being consumed by it. This expansion is not weakness, it is resilience. And resilience is one of the quiet miracles that often emerges from prolonged waiting. You may also discover that your desires are changing. What you once wanted with urgency may no longer hold the same power over you. New longings may begin to surface, ones that align more closely with who you are now rather than who you were. This shift is not betrayal of your former self, it is growth. Desire matures as understanding deepens, and mature desire tends to lead us toward what is lasting, rather than merely impressive. There is a humility that develops when outcomes are no longer guaranteed. You learn to receive each good thing as a gift, rather than an entitlement. Gratitude deepens because it is no longer assumed. This posture of gratitude prepares the heart for greater joy, not smaller. Joy that is earned through endurance is less fragile than joy that depends on ease. It does not shatter at the first sign of trouble. It steadies. You may still struggle with the feeling that time has been lost, that the waiting has delayed your life in some irreversible way. But time is not wasted when it is spent becoming. The world may measure progress by visible milestones, but the soul measures progress by depth, and depth takes time. What appears slow on the surface is often profound beneath it. Roots grow at a pace that cannot be rushed without consequence. There is also the matter of trust being rebuilt, not only trust in promises, but trust in yourself. Loss can shake confidence, making you question your judgment, your discernment, your worth. Yet as you continue to stand, to choose integrity, to remain open rather than closing in on yourself, trust begins to return. Not as naive certainty, but as seasoned assurance. You learn that even when things fall apart, you are not undone. What is coming will meet you where you are, not where you once were. It will not demand that you pretend the loss never happened. Instead, it will integrate that history into something meaningful. Your story will not be divided into before and after, as though one negates the other, but woven into a single narrative where even the painful chapters contribute to the coherence of the whole. You may find that your prayers are changing too, less focused on specific outcomes, more oriented toward alignment, toward becoming, toward understanding. This is not a loss of faith, but a refinement of it. Faith matures when it learns to trust the heart behind the answers, even when the answers themselves are delayed or surprising. Such faith is harder to shake because it rests on relationship rather than transaction. At times, you may feel the urge to rush ahead, to force resolutions simply to escape the discomfort of uncertainty. But haste often costs more than patience. What arrives too early can collapse under its own weight. Timing is not an arbitrary detail, it is part of the gift. What is coming will arrive when you are able not only to receive it, but to sustain it. There will also be moments of unexpected joy, small and unannounced, that remind you life is still generous even in seasons of waiting. These moments are not distractions, they are assurances. They whisper that goodness has not withdrawn, that beauty still finds you, that laughter can still surprise you. Such moments do not solve everything, but they keep hope alive, and hope is remarkably resilient when tended gently. You may not yet see how all the pieces will come together, but you are beginning to sense that they will. This sense is not rooted in optimism alone, but in experience. You have seen survival where you expected collapse, growth where you expected stagnation, insight where you expected confusion. These experiences quietly build confidence that the unseen work is real. The future you are moving toward will not simply be larger, it will be truer. Truer to your values, truer to your calling, truer to the person you are being shaped into. What is greater is not always louder or more visible. Sometimes it is greater because it is more aligned, more stable, more capable of lasting without constant reinforcement. As you continue forward, you may notice that the fear of being abandoned begins to loosen its grip. Not because every question has been answered, but because you have learned that presence does not always look the way you expect it to. Presence can be quiet, it can be indirect, it can be revealed only in hindsight, yet it remains presence nonetheless. You are learning slowly and steadily that your life is not being managed moment by moment, but guided with intention. That guidance allows for struggle without surrendering purpose. It allows for loss without forfeiting promise. And it allows for waiting without diminishing worth. The path ahead will not be free of difficulty, but it will be marked by a deeper sense of direction. You will recognize when something aligns with who you are becoming and when it does not. Discernment, once hard-won, becomes a trusted companion. It keeps you from settling for less than what you were prepared for, even when lesser things present themselves with urgency. And so, the days continue, unfolding not as a punishment, not as abandonment, but as preparation still in motion, shaping your strength, clarifying your vision, deepening your faith, and quietly arranging circumstances beyond your sight, so that when what is coming finally draws near, you will not only recognize it, but be ready to step into it without fear, without clinging to what was lost, and without doubting that the journey itself has been part of the gift that is still revealing itself gradually, faithfully, and with a purpose that continues to move forward with you as you go on. And as you keep moving forward, even when the pace feels slow and the direction uncertain, something subtle but profound continues to take shape within you. You begin to realize that endurance itself has become a kind of language, a quiet declaration that your life is not governed by circumstances alone. Each day you rise and choose to hope again. You are participating in a faith that is deeper than enthusiasm and sturdier than emotion. This faith does not shout, it steadies. It does not demand immediate proof. It learns to breathe in the dark. There are moments when the memory of what you lost resurfaces without warning, when a familiar sound, a passing thought, or a quiet evening stirs old ache. In those moments it may feel as though nothing has changed at all, but look more closely. You are not the same person who first felt that loss. The pain may revisit, but it no longer defines the bounder. Eyes of your life. It enters, it speaks, and it passes, leaving you standing rather than shattered. This is not because the pain has grown weaker, but because you have grown stronger. You may also notice that your sense of identity is shifting. Once, you may have defined yourself by what you had, what you were building, or what others expected of you. Those definitions feel insufficient. Something truer is emerging, something less dependent on external validation. You are learning who you are when applause fades, when plans unravel, when outcomes remain unresolved, and who you are in those moments is closer to the core of your being than you may have ever been before. This process is not comfortable, but it is honest. Comfort often dulls the questions that lead us to truth, while discomfort sharpens them. In the absence of easy answers, you are learning to ask better questions, not merely about what you want, but about what is worth wanting. This shift may feel unsettling, but it is essential. A future that is truly greater must be built on deeper foundations than the one you lost. There is also a growing awareness that timing is not an enemy but a companion. What once felt like delay now begins to reveal itself as alignment. Certain things could not arrive earlier without doing harm. Certain doors could not open until others had closed fully. This understanding does not erase frustration, but it tempers it with perspective. You begin to see that being spared can sometimes feel like being denied, and protection can look suspiciously like postponement. You may find yourself becoming less reactive, less easily shaken by uncertainty. Where once every unanswered question caused anxiety, now there is space to wait without panic. This calm is not apathy, it is trust-tested and proven. It is the kind of steadiness that does not come from knowing what will happen next, but from knowing that whatever happens next will not undo you. What is coming will meet this steadiness with responsibility. Greater things require greater grounding. Without it, blessings can become burdens, and opportunities can overwhelm rather than uplift. You are being prepared not only to receive but to steward, to hold what comes without fear of losing yourself again, to enjoy without clinging, to love without confusion. These are not small preparations, they are the difference between something that merely arrives and something that endures. As the waiting continues, you may notice that your faith is no longer fueled primarily by emotion. It is no longer dependent on feeling encouraged or inspired. Instead, it has settled into something quieter, something rooted. You believe not because you feel uplifted, but because you have seen enough to know that despair does not tell the truth. You have learned that feelings change more quickly than reality, and you have chosen to anchor yourself accordingly. There will still be days when doubt whispers, when it suggests that you have been overlooked, that others are moving forward while you remain stalled. Comparison has a way of intensifying pain, especially in seasons of waiting. But comparison only measures visibility, not value. You do not know what others carry behind what they display, nor do you know the cost of paths that appear effortless from a distance. Your journey is being shaped with a specificity that cannot be replicated, and its worth cannot be measured against another's timeline. You are also learning the discipline of release, not a dramatic letting go, but a gradual loosening of the grip. You stop replaying the past as often. You stop rehearsing alternate outcomes. You allow memories to exist without demanding that they return what they once gave you. This release is not forgetfulness, it is freedom. It creates space for the present to speak and for the future to enter without competition. In this space, new strengths emerge. Courage that does not depend on certainty, hope that does not demand immediacy, love that does not insist on guarantees. These strengths are not loud, but they are resilient. They do not fade when tested, they deepen. And they will matter more than you realize when what is coming begins to take shape in ways that surprise you. You may also find that your sense of purpose is becoming clearer, though not necessarily narrower. It may no longer be tied to a single outcome or role, but to a way of being, a way of showing up with integrity, a way of responding why. The grace, a way of choosing faithfulness over fear. Purpose, when understood this way, cannot be taken from you by loss. It travels with you, adapting to circumstance without losing its essence. There is a quiet confidence growing within you, one that does not need to announce itself. It comes from having faced uncertainty and discovered that you were not abandoned within it. That confidence does not make you immune to pain, but it makes you less afraid of it. You know now that pain is not proof of failure, nor is it evidence of being forgotten. It is often the corridor through which transformation passes. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the waiting begins to feel less like a suspension and more like a passage. You are not stuck, you are moving, even if the movement is inward before it becomes outward. This inward movement is crucial. It ensures that when the outward change arrives, it will not sweep you away, but carry you forward with clarity and intention. You may sense that something within you has settled, a rest that does not depend on resolution. This rest is not resignation, it is trust that has learned to breathe. It allows you to engage with life again, to laugh without guilt, to plan without anxiety, to hope without desperation. You are no longer holding your breath, waiting for proof that you are safe. You are learning to live as though safety is deeper than circumstance. The idea that you have been abandoned begins to lose its power, not because you have argued it away, but because your experience has quietly contradicted it. You have been sustained in ways you did not expect. Strength arrived where you thought none remained. Support appeared from directions you could not have predicted. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that care has been present even when it was not obvious. What is coming will not erase your history, but it will reinterpret it. You will see connections you could not see before, reasons that only make sense in hindsight. You will recognize that certain losses redirected you away from paths that would have limited you, even if they once felt secure. This recognition will not invalidate your grief, but it will place it within a larger context, one where nothing has been wasted. You are being led toward a future that requires the version of you that is emerging now, not the version you were before the loss. That version was sincere, hopeful, and brave in its own way, but it had not yet learned what you are learning now. The future ahead will ask for discernment, depth, and patience, qualities you are acquiring not through ease, but through endurance. There is a tenderness developing in you too, a gentleness toward yourself and others that was not as present before. You understand now how fragile people can be beneath their confidence, how heavy unseen burdens can become. This tenderness does not weaken you, it humanizes you. It allows you to connect without judgment, to listen without rushing, to offer presence rather than solutions. Such tenderness is rare, and it is often born from pain transformed. As you continue forward, you may realize that your fear of loss has changed. It no longer controls you as it once did. You have already faced losing something precious, and you survived. This does not make loss desirable, but it makes you less captive to it. You can love more freely now because you know that even if things change, you will not disappear with them. The waiting is still ongoing, but it no longer feels empty. It feels inhabited, filled with growth, with quiet preparation, with unseen alignment. You may not yet know the form that what is coming will take, but you are beginning to trust its timing and its purpose. That trust is not blind, it is informed by the journey you have already walked. And so you move forward, not rushing, not retreating, but walking with a steadiness that has been earned, carrying both memory and expectation, grief and hope. Knowing now that abandonment would have left you undone, but preparation has left you deeper, wiser, and still standing, as the story continues to unfold beyond. What you can see, with meaning still forming, with promise still alive, and with a future still approaching, shaped not only by what will be given to you, but by who you have become while waiting for it. And so let this be the final truth you carry with you. You were never abandoned, not in the silence, not in the loss, not in the waiting that tested your breath and bent your knees. What you thought was the end was only the narrowing of the path, so you would not miss what truly mattered. What was taken did not empty you, it made room. What delayed you did not deny you, it prepared you. The story of your life has not been reduced by what you lost, but enlarged by what you endured. And the faith you kept when answers were scarce has already marked you as someone capable of receiving more than you once imagined. What is coming will not merely restore you to who you were, it will reveal who you were always becoming. And when it arrives, you will understand that every quiet step, every unanswered prayer, every tear that fell without explanation was part of a careful shaping, proving at last that even in the hardest chapters, you were held, you were guided, and you were being led towards something greater than anything you ever left behind.